we've had a few technical difficulties. I blame the heat, whether it be at that side of the Atlanta or that side, whichever way we are, and this side as well. We're here. We made it. There's me. There's Eddie. There's so much to talk about. We're going to be breaking down Bellator 180 or NYC, whichever you want to call it. We've got Cage Warriors that's this Saturday also. Cage Warriors 85, I believe. And also we've got UFC Oklahoma as well. So, yeah, there's a lot to fucking get into, bro.
Dude, Cage Warriors, Bellator, UFC, the fucking drunken fight down the street, the two fucking kindergartners in daycare fighting. It's fucking fighting everywhere. And then on top of it, the NBA draft is tonight. Exactly. Who the fuck knows who's gonna get some shit tonight? Everything's happening today, and then people, it's you could fucking make dinner outside if you wanted to right now. Basically, anywhere you go.
It's just not a fun time because all I do know is that because obviously it starts at like midnight here, so it's like in a couple of hours, isn't it?
It starts the pre-show starts in an hour and 15 minutes, and then it'll be like a half hour to 45-minute pre-show, and then the first pick will go to the Philadelphia 76ers. So.
Which is going to be bullshit for me because I will not be staying up until stupid o'clock in the morning. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I love you, Bulls, but I ain't staying up till fucking 6 in the morning. It's just not happening.
I don't even know what pick they have, so you might be waiting a while too.
16 and 36, if I remember right.
16 and 36 is not worth staying up for.
I rest my case. Do you know what I mean?
Like this because my Suns had number 4. Seriously, I'm gonna watch the draft. I'm gonna watch it until the number 4 pick, which was my Phoenix Suns pick, and then I'm gonna go to the gym, work out, and then follow the rest of the fucking draft on my phone. Fuck staying for that shit. Seriously.
I'm just not about that life. I really am not. I'm just not about it. So. Fuck that bullshit. But yeah, we'll start off with Bellator since it's their big night. It's their fucking prom. It's their fucking college graduation. It's everything in between. This is the big one for them, and I'm still yet to hear what is actually happening with the UK kind of premiere of it. I keep on checking to see if anybody's like told the information that we need to kind of see if it's going to be live, if it's going to be pay-per-view, if it's going to be IPPV. I haven't seen yet. If anybody knows what's happening, hit us in the comments so we can kind of find out, because obviously we're kind of flickering back and forth right now. But I just heard that we were going to get some good news about the UK broadcast, but I haven't heard anything yet, so that's kind of making me worry.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't hear shit about it either, but all I know is it's supposed to be 180 is going to be on TV. It's supposed to be live. Apparently, Spike is supposed to get their heads out of their asses, so it should be live. I'm not buying it. I'm not gonna believe it until I fucking see it. And then, of course, the pay-per-view is on pay-per-view, so that's gonna be live. It's gotta be live. I'm not paying first of all, but no one should pay for a fucking pay-per-view that's not live. It's bullshit.
I'm seeing somebody saying that it might be on Monday at 10 p.m. for us. I'm seeing
the whole thing.
That apparently so. I'm not sure.
Get the fuck out.
Apparently so. This is the kind of bullshit when you're a European fan. And well, probably elsewhere, you know, like when you're in like Asia and whatnot. But fuck, like this is some bullshit. But we will show love to the fucking card. I just want to throw out there that I saw an article that said that Royce Gracie has not ruled out potentially returning and fighting in Bellator again.
God damn it, Royce. Fucking stop, dude. Rule it out. I'm ruling it out for you, Royce. No more. Cut the shit, dude. Who is he going to fight?
I don't know.
Chael? You going to fight Chael?
It's just a sad thing to kind of just even imagine that fight could happen. And it could.
I know he could. I'm not saying he couldn't. He did it last time. That was dog shit, too. Who did he fight? He fought Ken Shamrock.
Yeah, I was going to say the last fight was Ken Shamrock.
Yeah, how much bullshit was that fight? That was a bullshit fight.
The fact that he square on smashed him in the nuts and the ref didn't see that was ridiculous.
Yeah, time to find a way out. That's what that was. Fucking A.
I'm not about that life. If you're gonna fucking fight, like, come on, let's play the game, right? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird, but look, I tell Royce, God damn it, Royce. Like, here's the thing: you can't tell a fighter to stop fighting because that's their personal choice. He wants to keep fighting.
70,000 years old. Come on.
Hey, I'm not the sanctioning body. Someone sanctioned that last one. It shouldn't happen. They didn't know it. But
said inside.
Regardless, like, man, let the man fight. Let him do his thing. But it doesn't mean I have to like it or tune into it. Everyone's got a free choice.
On a brighter note, did you see that? What's his fucking name? Aaron Pico.
What about him?
That James Gallagher saw him in the hotel and started shouting that you're a steroid juice head.
Gallagher yelled at Pico?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from? Just like,
I just saw a journalist post it a little bit earlier.
Okay, well, I'm gonna look that up. I want to find out what that is. I wonder if Pico has ever been busted or anything. 'Cause I don't know. I don't know a lot of Pico's history other than that he's like high level wrestling, high level boxing.
I'll try to find the thing for you in a minute, but yeah, I saw somebody tweet it a little minute ago or so. But yeah, fuck, man.
Hey, James Gallagher, Ireland, one of Ireland's finest.
Hey,
he's going to say, dude. Have you seen him? Have you seen any of his fights?
Yeah.
Yeah, James Gallagher's a bad motherfucker, man, and he will say some shit. You know what his stance? His stance. Everyone's adopting that McGregor stance, though, right?
It seems to work. It seems to.
Oh, right. Oh, it's fucking working. It's definitely it's working for those guys, right? But it's just funny. Like everyone out of that camp, at least, is trying to do the McGregor thing, and it might work for Gallagher. His hands are not anywhere near his ground game. His ground game is good, but he's getting there. He'll get there. I think he's 20 years old. He's young.
I was gonna say he's young as a fuck. Like, do you know what I mean?
He's 20.
He definitely gets right. Well, just with that prediction alone, I'm definitely going with him for the pick on that.
He's fighting
Machida.
Who's he fighting? Chinzo's 40 years old. That's a 20-year-old dude. That was a man standing in front of a boy.
Yeah, 100%.
And the boy's likely gonna win that shit.
I just see that coming that way out. I just think that he's got the better striking. I think the way that he utilizes his jab and his cross. I just think that he's got the better movement as well with him being younger as well. I think the key thing is, and we already know this, he just needs to make sure that stays on the feet. Do you know what I mean?
Look, you're talking about Gallagher, right?
Yeah, of course. Like Gallagher's.
Dude, I would take no. I don't want to stand in the feet with Machida. Machida's still a fucking high level karate. He's got striking. He's got kicks and all that shit.
I agree with you, but I think a 20-year-old, and he's seen all this. Like, I know he's only 20 years old, but like when you're sparring in that camp, like there's no dude at 40-year-old that should catch you. Like, I know this is MMA, and whenever we say this thing, like everybody always goes like, but he could catch him. And it's like, yeah, well, of course he could. There's like 1,000 different weapons that you've got in MMA. Like, you could beat somebody off of a slam if the head hits hard enough on the ground. Like, shut up with the bullshit. But we're talking like logistically, I do not see Machida being able to catch him quick enough. I just don't think he has the speed.
Okay, yeah, and you have a good point with that. But like, look, Gallagher, he's 6-0. He's got like 5 subs and a decision on his record. The kid's dude. You wear him as a backpack. Every fucking fight he wins by submission is a goddamn rear naked choke. You get him on your back, it's fucking game.
Yeah.
Fucking play on the feet a little bit. If you can't put in there on the feet, just take him down. He'll finish him. Mind you, Machida is not a punk on the ground. I believe he's a black belt by now. It might be a brown belt, but I think he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. But yeah, dude, fucking A. His bread and butter is a high level jiu-jitsu. He's gonna play on the feet. You know what I mean? See if he can catch him. If he doesn't catch him, fine. Take it to the ground. End the shit. You're gonna wear me as a backpack. Game. You know what I mean?
The thing, if he stands up, I think he could mix up the 1-2, and if worse comes to worse, he takes it to the ground and subs it.
Yeah. The one thing he can't do is get caught with a flying knee. Like Machida loves flying knees, right? And if Gallagher tries to take him down and he doesn't set it up correctly, which he should set up correctly, but if he didn't set it up correctly, that flying knee Machida throws is like a one-hitter quitter. He's got a couple of those on his record, I think, as far as the knockouts. Well, I think one with a flying knee, I think. But still.
I think the thing is, though, is for me, I just think that this is, and I mean this in all due respect to the Machida name, but this is kind of like a can fight. Like, let's be honest. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is doing what we always say that people should do when it comes to these young stars. You feed them the older guys to kind of not necessarily pass the torch, but to kind of make a name from themselves, because they're going on the way out anyway. They still get a payday to the older guys, and the younger guys can make a little bit of a name for themselves by beating these well-known people. I just personally think this is going to be another walkthrough for Gallagher, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see what he does in the future. This is one of those guys that I'm very excited for. This is the cool thing about the Bellator card. I'm not trying to hype up this Bellator card. Like we spoke about this in the last episode. I think the last episode we were saying, like, truthfully, the Bellator card is weak as far as it's concerned.
It's weak, and I honestly think this free Oklahoma card's better.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, as far as the fights go, maybe not as far as the intrigue. Not as far as the intrigue, because of course Fedor and Vanderlei and all them guys. But as far as in my opinion, the fights and the skill level and the action is going to be much better for free on Sunday than as a pay-per-view on Saturday. I hope I'm wrong. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now I've been going, because today was a fucking press conference for Bellator NYC. They had Vanderlei, Chael, Mitrione, Fedor, everybody was there, right? Pico,
exactly.
Douglas Lima, Chandler. Those people that weren't there were fucking Bader and Phil Davis, it seems. But they had their press conference and whatever, and a lot of people were talking about it on Twitter, and I did. If you look at my tweets, it sounds like I'm shitting on it, but I'm not. What I'm trying to point out is that they're really selling a card that every fight on that is like 6-7 years too late.
Yeah.
The main event is like 6 or 7 years too late for it to be relevant, or even like where you can say, oh, it's gonna be a guaranteed fucking crazy fight. Like now we're just hoping for it. Fedor, we saw a fight against Maldonado. That's all I gotta say. Matt Mitrione is still a legit heavyweight. I mean, he can cause some damage, right? But he's still fighting the mystique that is Fedor, right? And then Douglas Lima and Lorenz Larkin, to me, is the most exciting fight on that card. Michael Chandler's taking on fucking Primus, however you say his last name, Brent, who's people know him, but no one really knows him. You know what I mean? And then the other was a fight. Isn't there like a
Phil Davis and Ryan Bader as well?
Exactly my point.
So let's right. So we covered. If you're going to make your prediction for that, we'll go like prediction, because we could breeze over the card really quick. But I'd rather we take the time to kind of at least do the main card, because I think Pico is going to get the W as well, because I think that pedigree is just. I think he's going to be the guy who just gets the W. I think that's kind of a fair thing to kind of assume. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to give him anybody too difficult to kind of go in on his first. But yeah, when it comes to the Gallagher Machida fight, I think he boxes him up and then he gets the sub. I really do. I think he throw hands, gets himself in there, and he gets the sub. I just looked at the chat, and Bradley of Cage Warriors Acclaim made a comment with James Gallagher versus Machida. Machida relies on straight counter strikes where the guy moves in. JG's movement and footwork, foot speed should be enough to deal with it as long as he goes lateral rather than in and out.
I have to agree. No, he's spot on. He's spot on that. Machida is exactly that kind of guy. Straight counter, right? And so, yeah, if he moves, you know what? I got nothing to add to that. That's perfect.
I think the thing with Gallagher is, with him being a very young guy and a very acute guy with his footwork and whatnot, and the camp that he comes from, movement. I know that you're not very happy with the movement coaches that they use.
Hey, look. The only reason I shit on him, you're playing touch bark with that dork in the park, is one of the best lines ever said on a microphone.
100% agree with you. The thing is, though, is I think there is, I think the most important thing in MMA is movement. I
agree. No, it's
fundamentals. It's the basic.
It's definitely an overlooked aspect of it, right? I mean, no one ever thinks about it. They think footwork, but you don't think how you use that footwork.
When you look at the greatest guys, though, every one of them has had good movement, whether it be John Jones, whether it be GSP. Like, you got to think, like, GSP was not one of the most biggest 170ers.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't one of the biggest, but the way that he could move in with his jab, the way that he could pick his moments to go in for takedowns with the double legs and stuff, whether it be John Jones with his manipulation of coming out of the clinch for the spinning elbows, picking moments and making movement count. Connor with the long stance, Machito with the back step to pop in when he wants to jump in, and even caught John Jones with it. Do you know what I mean? Like all the great guys, I personally think have got the best kind of movement. Chuck Liddell with that hand, like he would time that shit so perfectly to come in on you. Everybody who has been a great guy in MMA or woman, even whether it be Ronda Rousey, picking the perfect moment to use momentum against her opponents, every one of them had good movement. And like you said, I think that it's going to be pivotal. But for me, I'm going to go with my boy Gallagher, and I'm going to go with a second round sub.
That's what I'd have to agree with. I think he's gonna, if he doesn't knock him down with the striking, he'll get that fight to the ground somehow. And Machito's gonna have a backpack in the second round for sure.
We'll move on to the Phil Davis and the Ryan Bader fight. This fight is so hard for me. How do you even get hyped for this fight? Like I heard, I was listening to Brendan Schaub's breakdown, and I couldn't, for the first time ever, like I know a lot of people hate on him and they say that he butchers like the UFC and he talks shit about the UFC all the time. And I see where some people are coming from, but the fact that he was saying that this Bellator card is so deep and it's the best card and it's 10 times better than Oklahoma card, and I was just like, dog, I know that you're doing some like TV work for them, but like, come on. Like,
I'm gonna take from Schaub's own thing, huh? Bro, lose my number, bro. Lose my number, bro. Not about that, no, bro. No, bro. Tower 7. Fucking get out of here with that shit, dude. Look, it's fully because he's working for that. Come on, man. Brandon, here's the thing about Brendan Schaub. Well, it is fucking fully because of that shit. Because Brendan Schaub is not an idiot. That dude's a smart motherfucker, all right? But he tells it how he feels it and how he sees it, right? Yeah. But he wasn't hyping up this card till they announced that he was going to be on it. Yeah, my opinion. Because I watch his shit just like you do.
Yeah,
right?
I like it was just like his perspective. I think it's important.
Right. And he made some good points. He talked about Pico. He talked about Fedor and Mitrione. He had Mitrione on his show. He talked about Vanderlei and Sonnen. But on every single one of those fights, other than the Pico fight and the Larkin fight, I was kind of like, "Ooh, dude, settle down, dude." Like, this isn't TRT, jacked or Roy Jack Vanderlei and TRT Jack Chael Sonnen we're talking about. This is old ass just lost to Tito Ortiz, old ass Chael Sonnen, and haven't fought in fucking 2-3 years Vanderlei Silva. Now, could they surprise us? I sure fucking hope so, because I'm gonna watch this shit.
Bradley would rather staple his nuts to a pelt sander than watch the two fight again.
Goddamn right.
About Phil Davis.
Right on point.
About fucking Ryan Bader. Like, let's be truthful, right? We know that like Davis needs to use his cardio. He needs to clench a lot. He just needs to make sure he doesn't get fucking taken out or clocked with a big hand. Like, they seem to be the key thing. Personally, I think Phil Davis gets the W because I think he's improved more since. And I don't know. For me, I know that Bader's done okay in his last few fights, but I don't know. The fact that like that Latifi knockout, I hate.
Lucky.
I just I don't like to use that word because I always think to myself like, is it lucky though? Because you throw it, you hit it. Like, is it lucky? But I'm just saying it had a little bit of maybe some kind of luck.
Look, man, when you're Latifi and you dive down and eat a knee at the exact same time, that doesn't happen very often. The last time I saw that happen on purpose was Mark Hunt against who was it? Somebody kept trying to take Mark Hunt down, and Mark Hunt would sprawl, and he would Verdun. Remember Verdun went in there, and Mark Hunt would sprawl. Verdun shot again, Mark Hunt would sprawl, and then Verdun fainted. Mark Hunt sprawls and eats a knee for the knockout. It was beautiful.
Oh, I think I remember that as well. The worst thing is though, is the only other fight, the last other fight was against Nogueira. Like, come on.
For Bader, yeah. I mean, you knocked out Bader. You knocked out Nogueira. Whatever credit you want to take there. Although Nogueira's hands are good. That being said, his chin is not. And then either Latifi was kind of like he kind of got lucky on that. So it's hard to know as far as that goes. Like, it's hard to gauge how much Bader has improved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So
I'm going to go with Davis
Yeah.
because I'm going to go by decision. I think he out-cardios him. I think he managed to take him down a few times. I think this is literally going to be the most boring fight in the history of time. This is going to be a literal clinch battle. It's going to be a case of stuffing takedowns, getting straight back up, stuffing takedowns. It's going to be a really long, boring fight. The worst thing about this fight for me is I don't mind people clinching and using offense from it. I don't mind people using takedowns to be offensive with it. But when they have no intention, neither has intention of working the position to try and finish the fight, I just see this being so boring. So boring.
Yeah, I'm not excited at all for it. No one's excited really for this fight. I mean, shit. Brad's all talking about stapling his nuts to a fucking belt sander. Shit, I don't blame him. I'd rather do that too, but
I don't see that fight being entertaining at all. Where else are we on the card here? Where else should we go on here? I'm just trying to pull up the card so I can see all of it. But.
Well, I got you. The first fight on the pay-per-view part. You want to go up, or you want to go the whole thing?
I just want to go for like the main fights. Like, let's not fucking dog people.
Okay.
Out.
Well, then the first fight in the pay-per-view portion on pay-per-view, Aaron Pico against Zach Freeman. Now, if anybody watched that press conference, I didn't really care much of Zach Freeman until I heard him talk.
I haven't heard
it. That's a guy you want to have a beat. No, he's like so chilled out. He was like, I might be the only guy with a day job here. He's like, I sell office furniture or whatever. He sells just furniture, right? He works in furniture. He's like, if anyone needs any glass, whatever the fuck, hit me up and shit. Like he was like,
so he did the Alaquinta thing. He did the Alaquinta thing.
Exactly. But he's not an asshole like Al. He was like a legit cool dude, just hanging out and shit. He's 8-2. He's got way more experience than Pico. I think he's got like 5 submission wins. He's got a knockout. He's got the experience edge, right? But Aaron Pico, man, this kid. I mean, they signed him straight out of wrestling, right? This kid's never fought before. He's making his pro debut on pay-per-view for Bellator. He trains at AK in San Jose. He's gonna have Eddie Bravo in his corner, so the jiu-jitsu is gonna be there. Hopefully, I wonder how much he's been training with him on that.
I hope it's a lot. I really do hope it's a lot because that's something that's pivotal. But his wrestling could. We could be saying this, and this could be like a Randy. I'm not saying. Please fucking Christ almighty. Don't think I'm saying he's going to be like the next Randy Couture or anything like that. But what I'm saying is, though, he has the abilities to use his wrestling to kind of take the position where he wants it to be. Wherever he wants the fight to be, with his wrestling, he should be able to manipulate the situation to where he wants it. And you were telling me about his boxing resume and whatnot. And if he's got hands, then, it could be an early night.
Yeah, accomplished wrestler. He's accomplished boxer. He's won championships at many levels in both wrestling and boxing. Obviously his biggest flaw is going to be the inexperience here. You know what I mean? Oh, no. We'll see what happens. But I'm confident in Pico. This kid's been fighting from day one. He's one of the new generation of fighters, a new era of fighters that it wasn't like they were 28, 29 years old, watched UFC 1 on closed circuit or on tape and was like, oh, that's what I want to do. Let's go in there and fucking be tired and be whoever and go in there, just knock dudes out, right? Just throw hands till someone goes to sleep. This is a skill game now. So Pico's gonna be one of the new guys, right? That comes in with the, I've been watching this since I was a kid. I've been fighting since I was a kid, wrestling, boxing, all this shit. His skills are there. It's can he put it together in a cage, and use those skills to overcome the experience.
I think the key thing is with the one thing I do like about this Bellator card. Now, let's just make sure that this is clear. The one thing that I do like about this Bellator card is the fact that there is some young guys with a lot of promise being put on center stage. They could quite easily just put him Pico on another Bellator and have him debut and be like a co-main event, like higher up on the card, and really put the attention on him then and make him kind of the polarizing star for that. But they've really put balls to the wall with him, with James Gallagher and other people. Like they're really pushing the young stars in the right way. And for me, that's the one good quality about this card, as opposed to, some of the shit shows that we're going to get like on this card, like, there's going to be some dog awful fights. But at least they're setting up the potential for some of their future stars, and that's one thing that I do like. But I think Pico ends up. I'm gonna go with. I think ground and pound TKO, and I'm gonna go with the first round. I think he's gonna go all in, and I think that explosiveness is going to be very unpredictable for anybody to kind of take. With it being his first fight, it's going to be very difficult to see how explosive and how hard he hits when there's not much you can really go on.
There's no tape on Pico. None. I mean, what are you gonna watch? What are you gonna watch his wrestling matches or watch his boxing matches? It won't mean anything. You know what I mean? There's no tape on in MMA on him. So that's actually a pretty good advantage there for Pico, right? I'm with you. He's gonna win. I think he wins too. I just don't know if it's gonna be a finish. I think Freeman's gonna surprise people with his ability to hang on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Again, 8-2. He's not a punk on the ground. He's got 5 sub wins. So it's almost like the game might be just points for Pico at first. I think Pico takes him by decision.
Decision.
I think he's gonna show. I think so. I think he's gonna show a lot though.
I'm like Brad's dropping like crazy knowledge in the comments. I ain't gonna lie.
Read it out.
Hold up. I'm just messaging him right now on Twitter because I'm gonna put him on blast here. Hold on. Let's see if this.
I'll read it. You want me to read it out while you do that?
Read that whilst I just hit him up.
Okay.
Send him a DM right now.
All right. So what Brad's saying on the YouTube comment says it's a tried and tested promotional method. Recognized veterans headlining. Current generation on the undercard. Look at UFC 40 with Shamrock versus Tito. Good point. Robbie Lawler, Carlos Newton, Matt Hughes, and Chuck are on that undercard. Repeats throughout history. And yeah, it's a formula that they use for sure. And they still use it now.
100%.
I mean, obviously they're using it now, but it's how you get the eyes on the TV on the cards, and then you show off your young talent early on, and people are like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna remember this kid for next time" or whatever.
I think that this is the key thing, though. I think what UFC has kind of been missing recently, that the fact that we've not had the opportunity to see the UFC really kind of cultivate their young talent in the right way. They've kind of tried to force feed them into being stars already. Paige Van Zandt, what's his fucking name now? Sage Northcutt. Sorry, my fucking hell. Like, one of the guys who I'm most excited for in the future and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's just kind of cool to know that there is a promotion that's really trying to work on building, but they've already kind of got their main, I don't want to say main talent, but they've got the bigger names to kind of carry the shows and the pay-per-views already. Just so that you know, guys, Brad's on about joining us on the stream. He's just gonna sort some stuff out. So hopefully he'll be joining us in a New York minute. No pun intended with the New York card, but it is what it is. But additional, we'll move on anyway. What fight was next? What we doing next?
Next fight on the main card is gonna be Michael Chandler against Brent Primus. Obviously, Chandler, Bellator champion, 31 years old. He's been fighting for Bellator forever now. He's had wars with Eddie Alvarez. Those are legendary fights, honestly, as far as Bellator
they're some
goes.
of the craziest fights I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the
Dude.
Which one was the? Was it the second?
And what, we got knocked out a couple times?
The one where it was like insane, where it was like Rock'em Sock'em, and I thought that people was gonna die.
I think it was the first one. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly. I have to rewatch those, to be honest with you. But he's got a fucking this kid. I mean, he's the only guy that really like beat him. And okay, he lost to Will Brooks, right? And that was like kind of controversial for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then he lost to him again, so that's kind of out of it. And then he's coming back. He's coming into this card on a 4-fight win streak. Wins over David Rickles, who we know, Patrick Ferrari, who we've seen before, and of course Benson fucking Henderson. Very well-rounded fighter. He's got hands, got ground skills. He's fought the who's who in the Bellator lightweight division, and now he gets his kid Brent Primus, who nobody really knows. You know what I mean? He's primarily a ground guy. Yeah. He's got 7 wins. 4 of them are rear naked chokes, right?
Yeah, like I say, for me, I genuinely believe Chandler's one of the best in the world.
Agreed.
And I personally feel that he dominates this fight. I personally feel it's one of those strange ones. I don't know the ins and outs of the story, but apparently he's got beef with Dana, and that's one of the stumbling blocks that's keeping him out.
Michael Chandler has beef with anybody that doesn't really call him the best lightweight in the world. That's just what Michael Chandler does. Like, no, I'm not saying he's wrong. I mean, I'm not saying that he shouldn't have beef with the UFC.
I think outside of Conor, he is.
But him and Ben Askren are two guys that did not, they wouldn't kiss the Dana White ring. You know what I mean? That's why they're not in the UFC.
I guess, but still, like, there's other people that are involved. If you're wanting to be the top promotion in the world, you want to have them in your organization.
Right.
So, like, regardless of Dana, I still feel that there's something shady about that. Maybe they wanted more money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, Chandler's going to come in to a potential negotiation with the UFC going, I was Bellator champ for so many years. I beat your former lightweight champion in Eddie Alvarez. I beat a bunch of you guys already. I deserve to be, paid like a champion. And Dana's going to be like, you're a Bellator. Chill the fuck out with your shit.
Could you imagine Ben Askren or Chandler versus Khabib?
I don't want to see that at all.
Why? If we're gonna go full grappling, let's go full grappling, bro.
Because Ben Askren's boring as shit.
Well, I don't know about that.
He's a GSP type of guy.
The last fight was decent.
Who's he fighting?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not disputing that, bro. I'm not disputing that he fought a fucking fan. I'm just saying though that it was legit. Like, it was fucking fun to watch. I'm not saying that like he beat like the fucking world beaters. Like, let's be truthful. If you're not like a top guy in a top promotion, you're not really classed as a world beater until you face other world beaters. And guess where they are? They're in the fucking Premier Leagues. They're not going to be, it's all good and well saying all this stuff, but it's just like, right, I put it this way, and fuck you guys who's going to say the Conor shit, fuck y'all guys. But Conor fought against some guys over in England, blah, 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 did quite well. He came to the UFC, everyone was like, he ain't going to be able to hang with the big boys. And then he got to prove that he could eventually over time. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But there's some people that, they have a lot of hype around them. They go and fight in different countries and stuff. They come over to the big leagues, like whether it be the UFC, Bellator, you know what I mean, whatever, or Pride back in the day. And they get exposed. Because there's other guys that are bigger, badder, and better. So I agree. But I'm just saying that. But I'm just saying that Askren kicked ass. That's all.
Whatever. Ben Askren fighting in ONE FC is like if you put a purple belt in an all white belt fucking tournament. All right, he's gonna do some crazy shit more than likely. Okay, but if you put him against another purple belt, you're gonna get a whole lot of stalling. Let's be honest about that.
I'm not disputing it. I'm just saying that it'd be very interesting to see premier grapplers compete in that manner. That's what I'm saying.
No, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay.
So, like, everybody says it like this was since New York, since 2005. Everybody's been on this hype chain with Khabib going, Khabib's the greatest grappler at 155. Khabib's the baddest grappler at one. Like, who can stop him from pinning down? He mauls them like a bear and all this other bullshit. So, with that same thing said, I don't know. Like, I just think it'd be very interesting. Do you know what I mean?
It'd be interesting, but I just don't fucking. Oh my god.
What's up with you?
Sorry.
Okay, right.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you on Twitter. My bad.
This is the worst thing about us doing this, right? Because me and him, like, we DM each other shit all the time, and it sometimes isn't the best thing to do whilst we're.
All right, so here's the thing. So I'm sending it to you right now, and then you decide what to do with it. Okay?
Oh my god, you're gonna make
it's a hilarious looking picture of someone we've had to deal with recently, very recently.
Christ, I don't think I'm at liberty to deal with this bullshit right now.
You got to. Anyway, well, it pops up and you tell me what you think. Did you get it?
I'm literally just about to invite Brad to the conversation.
Okay, go ahead.
You can drop us in.
Anyway,
I'm
so real quick
his thing here. Here we go.
Yeah.
Right, and hopefully he's in. Right, we just invited Brad. He does play-by-play for Cage Warriors, also for Full Contact Contenders, for BC MMA, and who else does he do? For Shock and Awe as well.
I think he's busy as fuck.
Yeah, dude goes all over the fucking planet. He's any and everywhere.
Hey man, when you love it, that's a dream gig. When you get that, man, you go all out.
God,
you see it?
Yeah, the fucking thing that you just sent me is fucking insane.
You can talk about it if you want to. I'm gonna leave it up to you. I have no problem saying it, but
right. I'm just gonna say this, right, and this is where we need to focus on this right now because I don't want to give this guy press. I don't, because it's like Come on, man.
That's an unfortunate haircut, at least.
Right. When you look like an anorexic wannabe Machine Gun Kelly, just let it go, bro. Just stop. Like, don't do it to yourself. Like, the thing is when, right, again, we've mentioned this before. I don't consider myself a journalist. And if I was going to carry myself in such a manner, I personally think that you should carry yourself in a certain way and you should look a certain way. When you're trying to act trendy as shit, like, come on, bro. Like, you just look a doofus. Like, you genuinely, I can't even describe what he looked, but I could.
Hey, real quick, this guy, you think he gets into that MMA Journalists Association?
He has the biggest five head I've ever seen in my entire.
Fuck that five head. That dude looks, man. I can't respect this motherfucker.
It looks like literally the wind has blown so hard that his hair is running away from it.
Look, he had to look. Let's just say this: he had to plagiarize his own writers to put out decent content. Let's just say that much. And if you guys can guess off of that who it is, just go look at his at the picture that someone tweeted out about. I think he was at the Bellator press conference. I think maybe might be wrong on that. You know who was there? Gareth Davies was there. Davies, whatever. Everyone hates that guy.
Look, I'm not saying right. You know,
everybody hates that guy.
You know what's the problem with the guys over in this country? And there's very few journalists, whatever you want to fucking call them,
anywhere
that I actually like from the UK. There's a few. Don't get me wrong. You know, there is a few. But the thing is there's a lot that I cannot actually physically stand. Like, there is a lot of them. Do you know what I mean? That I can't stand. Like, for the most part, like, I love the Britpack guys. Like Simon Head and fucking, I forgot the other guy's name off the top of my head now. Fuck. But yeah, the Britpack are cool guys. There's a few others, but for the most part, y'all are crazy. Like, you guys carry yourself in such a weird manner. And I know you guys are trying to be quote unquote professional, some of you, but some of you, it's like, it's so outdated. It feels so like
fake.
Yeah, it's like the old boys club. Like, that's how it feels. Like,
that's what it is everywhere, though. Here and there and everywhere else. You got the fucking the main guys at the MMA Journalists Association, the fucking guys that are leading it. That's the old boys club, right?
Yeah, because you can't join unless you work full time as
exactly. If you get paid.
Like, bruh, like, I know journalists, legit journalists, like real, like, shout out to like like Dan Tom. Like, that guy's fucking legit as it comes, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's a fucking journalist. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and he's a legit journalist. Whereas, like, there's some people, and, you know, shout out to like Ryan Thomas. Like, he's legit as it fucking comes to. His writing's insane. Some of the stuff that he comes out with. What's the other fucking dude? Shout out to DC Howard as well. DC Howard's a beast.
I like DC Howard. Our boy Ryan Thomas.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying before, though. Like,
shit.
Thomas,
oh, like, yeah.
These guys are fucking legit fucking badass writers. And, you know, when I see them guys and, you know, they're throwing out real quality content, and then there's other guys that are getting, you know, paid, fair enough. But it's like, what does that even mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, what does that even mean? Like, if some writers are getting paid full time, but they're only getting paid because the actual companies want a nice review from their promotion.
Look, some guys have allegedly been paid to cover some certain promotions. Hey, I'm not just talking. Hey. Look, I mean, I'll throw an example out there. Remember, Hawani's checks used to be labeled by signed by Zuffa.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, look into it, like Eddie Bravo. I'm just saying, look into it.
Look into it. Look into it.
Right? They fake 6 moon landings. Okay, you don't think that's some shady shit? Look into it. That's all I'm saying. I love using that, by the way. That's my favorite thing to do right now. Like, I do that all day. I was at jiu-jitsu like before I got hurt, and I was just like, we were talking about the dumbest shit, and I remember just throwing that out there. Everyone burst out laughing because everyone knows what I'm talking about, the Eddie Bravo thing.
Yeah, because if you're a jiu-jitsu guy and you don't know who Eddie Bravo is, go kill yourself. Come on.
By the way, he'll be in Aaron Pica's corner on Saturday.
Oh, is that legit? Oh, Brad's joining us. Holy crap on a cracker. Can we see him? Are you there?
Who craps on crack?
Hello.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Oh, we can't see you. Where you hiding? Where you hiding? You there, bro?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I just wondered where you at because I can't see you very well. I think he's camera shy.
I think I might have a bit of lag.
All right, no worries. It just it looks like we just got your icon rather than we can see you. Unless you're like tucked in bed, then we don't want to see you in bed.
I am actually in bed.
That's kind of creepy. I'm not gonna lie. How are you?
I'm very well, man. I'm very well. How are you guys?
I'm good. It's just warm as shit.
Yeah, melting away on both sides of the fucking ocean, man. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been sent to bed because my my missus is in the living room crying away through Orange Is the New Black. So I've been sent in here.
In
Oh,
fairness,
shit.
I think you've made the right choice in leaving the room real quick. I think he's got like a real lag. Are you all right there?
I've got a real lag situation going on here.
We'll jump into the other fights on the card. Do you want to do the and the main event now for Bellator?
Yeah. Which one is which?
The co's the Matt Mitrione Fedor, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, just making sure then.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'll be honest. You know, I'm an old school Pride fan, so you know, I can't turn down the opportunity to watch a Fedor fight. You know, for me, it's just one of those things, man. You know, when you're of that era, no matter how shit Fedor gets, you're always going to tune into his fights with that little bit of hope that he's going to pull some magic out the bag. And can you imagine 10 years ago saying that, you know, Matt Mitrione would be the favorite to beat Fedor?
I genuinely think Fedor unfortunately gets smashed to pieces, and it's going to be one of those eye-opening things. You know what? Fuck everybody who's going to give me grief. I don't care. I do think that Fedor's the best heavyweight that there ever was, and this was past tense, because considering his last fight, he should have had that fight stopped. Like, that last fight, he should have got stopped. So,
he lost that last fight. No danger.
100%.
Maldonado.
That commentator, I don't know.
That was the best part of the whole fight. You kidding me? The commentator was the shit.
Oh, I know, but it was the fact that he couldn't have rid Fedor's cock any harder if he'd have tried. He couldn't have. He was legit jocking off to that fight as Fedor came back into it in that second round. Oh, we're back. We can see you.
There we go.
There we go. I'd not pressed the button. I'm not a big technology guy, I'll be honest.
Oh, dude. Honestly, though, like, for me, I think that unless Fedor has some, what's the word, leftover strength from some form of science experiment over in Russia, then I do not think he has a hope in hell of beating Mitrione. I think he gets pieced up.
It's one of those things, man. Like, you know, everyone looks back at Fedor's stuff with, like, you know, rose-tinted glasses. There's a lot of nostalgia there.
Yeah.
But when you seriously think about it, it's like it's been 11, 12 years since he was in his prime. That's a long fucking time for a heavyweight, especially. And, you know, he's had some big knockout losses. He's taken a lot of damage. And, you know, Mitrione's an average heavyweight, let's be honest, perhaps a below average heavyweight, but he's a big fucking lump and he can hit hard. And, you know, Fedor's lost his speed, he's lost his reflexes. If he takes one on the chin, he's probably going to go down. You know, Mitrione's what, 250, 240? Yeah. Fedor's, you know, a pudgy 240 these days.
Dad bodded up, bro. Dad bodded up.
I'm all about the dad one, I'll be honest, but you know, I'm not getting into a steel cage and smashing 7 bells out, dudes. Yes, that's just me. I'm happy to sit on the outside and just talk shit about people doing it.
Yeah, 100%, man. I don't know. The thing is when I look at Mitrione, and I do think for a big guy, I think he has quite good footwork. I don't think it's the most elite footwork that we've seen in the heavyweight division. I think there's a fair few people you could say have better footwork, but I do think that his hands and the fact that he does hit hard and he does move off at different angles, I just think that this is going to be one of those horrible moments where it's going to be the equivalent of BJ against Yair in the sense of we're going to see one of the legends of the sport get pieced up, and it's kind of sad if I'm honest.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The thing you've got to remember about Mitrione is that he did play in the NFL, so for a guy of his size, his speed and more importantly his reflexes are going to be a lot better than the average man's. Obviously, Fedor was not the average man in his prime, but he's going to have slowed down a fair bit by now. And, that explosiveness in the scramble is probably where Fedor's going to get caught. If you look at his fight with Dan Henderson, it was a little scramble against the cage where he got banged. I can see the similar kind of thing happening to him. Obviously, Mitrione's going to be able to push him around. Fedor will be looking to use that Sambo judo background to throw him off balance. He might take a big ding on the chin in that scramble and in that in that clinch, a dirty uppercut or a little short hook over the side, and that's the kind of thing that's going to put him out.
You don't think we're giving Mitrione a little too much credit, though?
No.
Really?
No. Like, you're talking about, like, Fedor 20 years after his prime. You know what I mean? Like, come on.
I mean, like, I'm actually a really big Mario Maldonado fan. Fabio Maldonado, even. I've had one too many growlshes. I'm a big Maldonado fan. Like, his boxing skills are on point, but there's no way a light heavyweight Maldonado should have been tagging Fedor that much. And I think if Maldonado can do it, a guy with much better, muscle twitch fibers like Mitrione's going to be able to crack him a few more times. And when you're 240, 250 pounds, it's bad news for Fedor.
You see the height difference though between Fedor and Mitrione. Mitrione was like above him, like by a whole head. I was like, holy shit, dude, this is not good for fucking Fedor.
It's the same thing, because he's going to try and get in with that big overhand right, or he's going to try and get in with like a straight jab and then clinch him. And he's got too much distance to cover, like you say. With a guy who's head and shoulders bigger than you, at the end of the day, like Mitrione's a shit heavyweight, but he's not fucking Hongman Choi or Zuluzinho, is he? That he can crack at the end of the day.
He got caught, if I believe, was it the last fight or was it the fight before where he got dropped, did Matt Mitrione? And he managed to recover eventually. So we know that he could at least take a shot. And we don't really associate Fedor with a big power shots per se. So if he can eat one and still manage to recover, I just can't see Fedor being able to drop him, if I'm honest.
I mean, Mitrione fought Ollie Thompson on not the last Bellator London card, but the one before.
Yeah, that's the one I think it was.
Ollie Thompson gave him a lot more trouble than he had any right to be honest. Thompson's really fought a lot of great guys, and I think they went to I don't think it was a decision, but I think they went to the second round, maybe.
I think that was the one where he got dropped in the first, and then he managed to recover and finish him in the second. Yeah. I remember.
But I think, if Ollie Thompson can give Mitrione a bit of trouble, then maybe Fedor can, but I don't know. It's one of those fights, like, you would never have believed the odds to be so close, even 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago. But it's one of those fights now I probably wouldn't even go near putting money on because, by rights and in your mind and your heart, Fedor should win. But just, on the balance of power that they've both got at the moment,
the only little thing that I give, and it's the smallest of percentage for Fedor to win this, is when they go into the cage and the door shuts and the lights are on, standing across from Fedor. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing that, like, I think that Fedor has in his locker, that when he stands across from Mitrione, we're going to look and we're going to see if the occasion is going to get to Mitrione, because he's fighting against the biggest name he's ever going to fight against. There's nobody else. He'd go back to the UFC. He could fight against everybody in the UFC, every big name that's in the UFC. None of those names and the occasion will stand against him in Madison Square Garden, going against the greatest heavyweight of all time.
No, you're absolutely right. And if you talk to a lot of MMA fighters of this generation, they're pretty much all going to say it's different with fans because I think most fans of that era, they picked either Pride or the UFC, and they said, that's my jam. I'm going to stick up for one side or the other. But I think if you talk to fighters and coaches who are actually, in the industry, and they say, who's your favorite fighter of that generation 10, 15 years ago? Who's the guy who inspired you? And they'll say Fedor and they'll say Nogueira, regardless of who was with UFC or who was with Pride or who was the most popular guy at the time. And I think for someone like Mitrion, who's a younger guy, to be stepping in with Fedor, like you say, it's almost like having to punch out your hero at the end of the day, isn't it? And as much as everyone would like to say, well, it's a fight, it's just a fight, it's my job, it's what I do. If you're playing football against Ronaldo or if you're boxing Evander Holyfield, how are you going to deal with that mentally? It must be huge.
So let's get your predictions. So Eddie, what are you going with first? What are you saying?
Matt Mitrion knockout, first round, end of first round.
What are you saying, Vlad?
I'm going to agree, man. I'm going to say Mitrion second round knockout. As much as it breaks my cold dead heart to say it, I'm going to go with that.
I'm gonna go with the first round TKO, man. I think he's gonna drop him, and then it's just gonna be a case of I think Fedor just gets overwhelmed really early. I think that chin is not gonna last again, especially after the amount of damage it just took not so long ago. I think the button's been punched too much now, and I think that's the end of that one. So hopefully we see some magic and we see Fedor.
Watch Pedro pull a win out of his ass like an awfully executed Kimura that Mitrion just taps to.
I'm going by. I'm going to go by Fedor. I'm going to go by flying armbar.
There you go, dude. He used to be able to move like that.
Remember when he fought Brett Rogers in Strikeforce, and he got the shit kicked out of him for the first round, and then just one bombed him in the second. It's going to be something like that, isn't it?
That's the kind of thing that this pay-per-view needs. But the only thing that's kind of carried this pay-per-view, if we're completely honest. And Eddie alluded to this in the last episode. If it wasn't for Chael Sonnen talking on every promotion, on every interview, on his show, pretty much everywhere, I don't think that this card would have even got a date in Madison Square Garden. And I want to get your guys' kind of thoughts on this. This is a weird fight. I feel as if it shouldn't happen. I'm excited that it's happening, but I don't know how I should really feel about this fight.
Well, it was originally supposed to happen on the Ultimate Fighter, wasn't it? Because they coached against each other, and I can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm assuming it was Vanderlei that pulled out or didn't make it for whatever reason. I honestly can't remember. But in terms of obviously, the Ultimate Fighter is pretty much all orchestrated and scripted and edited very, very cleverly. There's never much real beef in there, but I think in terms of actual animosity between the coaches, this was one where there genuinely was a lot of heat, where they had a bit of a throwdown. And then you've got the fact that Chael Sonnen is pretty much the ultimate carnival barker for mixed martial arts. He's a guy who probably more than anyone else understands the fact that you don't have to be the best guy in the cage, but if you can make half the people love you and half the people hate you, you're going to make a shitload of money because people want to tune in to see you win or tune in to see you get the shit kicked out of you. Whichever way it is, they're paying to see you fight. And I think he's a guy since that first Anderson Silva fight has really understood that. And he's kind of kept that up. I mean, there was a great tweet that he put out, I think it was earlier today. He tweeted a picture of Vanderlei Silva's face and said that Vanderlei Silva was the first fighter in MMA history to have cauliflower face. Stuff like that. Wow. You know what I mean? You can't buy that kind of class, can you? I think a lot of his routine has become quite tired. He's been dropping the same gags since Anderson Silva and Nogueira back in the day. But he has come out with a few gems. I don't think it's generated as much hype as those fights back in the day, but it's certainly done a little bit towards it. And I think in Vanderlei Silva, he's got the perfect foil because Silva is, he's a fucking idiot at the end of the day. He's just a berserker. That's why I hate the Ultimate Fighter. I can't stand reality TV. My TV at home isn't actually plugged into my aerial. I don't watch TV at all. Okay. But I watch the Ultimate Fighter when those two guys run it because Vanderlei Silva doesn't get the joke, and that just makes it so much more hilarious for me. Sonnen just winds him up, and Silva's he's not in on the joke. He doesn't understand that Sonnen is playing in for a fool, and he gets genuinely angry about it. And I love seeing idiots get wound up. So for me, that's why I'm kind of really interested in this fight.
It's that Brazilian pride, though.
It is, and the fact that Silva's a fucking roided out maniac. You know.
Hey, hold on.
He lists his hobbies as
just call
Japanese wrestlers' heads.
We can't just call Wanderlei Silva the roid head in this fight when we're talking to Mr. PED as well. Like, he's competing against Chael Sonnen. Like, let's just gotta throw that out there.
Well, yeah, you know, I'm guessing USADA have taken the week off for this fight. I can't imagine either of them will pass a piss test with their own urine. Put it that way. But yeah, you know, I think you look at Silva now. To be fair, if you look at him in the highlight of his Pride days, he was significantly bigger. I mean, what I'm saying is he's doing less drugs now than he was before.
Well, I'll tell you what. If either one, look, they're both gonna get popped after the fact. All right, let's be honest. I'll tell you what. If it's like if put
that 20% aside, it's all done.
Yeah, that Bellator's already got money aside for that shit. Fucking, if they come out looking like they should look at their age and lack of drugs, okay, clean. If they come out looking like fucking like legit fighters, I'm telling you, they're fucking both failing in a week. If they come out looking like, I'm telling you.
I think one of my favorite Pride moments ever was when Mark Coleman fought Shogun and broke his arm, and they had just that big melee in the ring. Like Wanderlei Silva just jumped in, sweating testosterone. And then you had Mark Coleman also sweating testosterone, standing on his face. Phil Baroni, oh man, it was just a juice bomb Royal Rumble. It was fantastic. I'm all for that shit, man. You know, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, if you look at like, I'm sure it's probably like similar on the American circuit as well. But you know, if you look at the domestic circuit here in the UK and in Europe and Oz and probably in the US, yeah, everyone's on the gear. I just think it comes to a point where everyone's doing it. Just let them do it, man. Just let them do it, or at least have like a roided out and a non-roided out division. You know?
Exactly.
You like a testosterone level though, because like my thing is this: I'm not against necessarily people using PEDs, but then it becomes a point of who's got the best dealer.
That's how it was for the longest time.
That's
how it was for the longest time, though, right? That's how it was. No,
go.
No, I said that's how it was before. For the longest time, the best juicer was the fucking winner, right? Vitor Belfort had everybody fucked over. He had the best shit on the market. All right, that's why everyone was talking Vitor, bro. That's why. All right, because he fucking juiced the shit. He outjuiced everybody. All right, and now that he can't do it no more, Dad bought Vitor. We ain't got no more TRT Vitor. It's over.
But this is the problem, though. Like I look at, say, somebody like Fedor, who's, you know, part of the Russian sports committee, and I'm just like, he's got a lab. Like, he's got a built-in Breaking Bad steroid meth lab where he's just pumping out the best gear they possibly could. And it's like, how's that fair to some poor kid who's in fucking, like, you know, I don't know, like some Portobello in like Brazil or something, who's having to just like literally fight barefoot on broken glass. Like, it's just not the same. It doesn't make it fair. And I just think that if you're going to do it and you're going to make it like a thing where you allow people to use PED steroids, whatever you want to reference them as, like you said, Brad, when you see domestically and you see some guys and you're like, oh, it's so blatantly obvious that juiced out of your mind, and they're like, I can't stand steroid users. I'm like, you will never make it to the UFC. Like, you will never make it to the big leagues where they do the testing now. You just won't make it there.
Well, the problem is that, you know, a lot of these guys do, and then, you know, they hit that level domestically and they get signed, and then they're like, oh shit, I can't do it anymore. And it's not just the physical side of it that they're then lacking; it's the mental side of it. I mean, if you look at a guy like Alistair Overeem, you know, this was a guy who. You know, I grew up in Holland. I used to watch Overeem when he was a kickboxer. When I was in my teens, and I saw his MMA career start. And he was like he was like 190 pounds, and then he was in K1, and all of a sudden he's bulked up and he's like 270, 265, absolutely steaming on the gear. And then you see when he started fighting MMA in the US, and he had to come off it. And he not only did he lose a lot of his muscle mass, but the confidence went, because he didn't have that juice in his system, and he's like, shit, I can't go as fast, as hard, for as long. And he lost a lot of the confidence in himself that he had when he was in K1. I think you see a lot of the guys domestically, they're on the juice and they get to the UFC and they think, fuck, I don't want to balls it up now. I'm not going to try and cycle it in my first couple of UFC fights. And not only have they cheated themselves physically to get there, but mentally they're thinking, oh, I'm fighting without this gear now, and it affects them. And I think if you look at a few guys, UK wise and Europe wise, who've got to the UFC, they've been an absolute tear domestically, and they've got to the UFC, and they've performed quite poorly in their first couple of fights. You can start to cast aspersions then on, well, what was that guy doing in the domestic circuit that he's not doing now, which is causing him to have worse results, because they're not necessarily facing a massively high level of competition anymore. That's just not the case. The UFC is not the elite of the elite anymore. If you're a European guy having your first few fights, you're not facing elite guys on the world level. You're facing guys of a similar level to you. And when you've gone from winning so much in so decisive a fashion to looking like shit, if I'm frank, in your first few UFC fights, you've got to ask those questions then.
The most interesting thing about that is there's some fighters that I can think of that have come back to their like domestic scene or local scene, whatever you want to reference it as, and they've all of a sudden become killers again. And I'm just like, oh.
Hey, it could be a coincidence. Who knows?
Unless you're Bigfoot Silva juiced the fuck up again and gets knocked out anyway. God damn it.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Also, sometimes it just doesn't matter anymore. Like, it becomes a point where you have to kind of go, enough's enough, guys. But like, I thought it was interesting when you mentioned Overeem then, because I remember the younger days when he looked like a kind of a young John Jones kind of build, and then all of a sudden he looked like Brock Lesnar, and it's like, dude, there's no way, like, because he wasn't even that old by the time he was kind of that kind of like drawn out figure. To go from one to the other extreme, it's insane.
He started very young. I think I first saw him fight when he was about 16. His older brother Valentine, I think he's about 3 or 4 years older, but he was a sort of a similar build, a little bit shorter, but again massively bulked up all of a sudden. He was fighting in Rings Holland at about 200 pounds, then he ended up fighting heavyweight in Japan at like 240. And you just think, oh, well, he's obviously, he's training with his brother. He's gone down the same path. I think it's unfair to sort of cast aspersions based on what the guy looks like physically, because you've got guys like Tim Sylvia who got popped, who look, he was a big old sloppy guy. But I think when you look at Alistair Overeem, you can say, well, look, that's chemistry. That's not physicality that's made that change. It's ridiculous.
So, starting with you, Eddie, what is your keys to victory for either of these guys, for Silva or for Chael?
Royd the fuck out.
Yeah, but who's gonna have the best gear, bro?
Oh, Chael Sonnen. Chael P. Sonnen.
In between rounds.
Yeah, dude. Hey, in between rounds, dude. Okay, think of it this way: 5-round fight. It's 5 rounds, right? Yeah, 5-round fight. In between each round, have their prospective dealers come in, shoot them up with some shit, and then the next one's gonna be crazier.
This is going to be like Bane versus Bane.
Exactly what I want. I don't want to see these guys getting a fight now. I want to see these guys at their best, most juiced up shit. Why? We're not fighting for belts. We're fighting for money. It's a fucking circus we're watching tomorrow night or Saturday night, okay? This isn't serious. You know what I mean? This isn't fucking John Jones against Daniel Cormier, even though Jones is on the powder. You know what I mean? It's legit circus. If we're going to put on a circus, let's do it right.
Right,
I've got ringing brothers in this bitch.
What's the biggest circus? Floyd versus Conor or Chael versus Wanderlei?
Oh, it's hard to fucking tell.
Get the fuck out of here. So legit, what's your pick for the Silva Chael?
Wanderlei's got to keep this fight on the feet. I mean, I'm sure his ground game's it's good. I mean, he's a Brazilian, right? Yeah. But his bread and butter is blitzing the shit out of people and knocking them the fuck out. He's got to keep it on the feet. That being said, Chael Sonnen is still a wrestler. If he can keep Chael Sonnen off him, I think he's got a good chance. But this is going to be a weird, controversial ending of this fight. All right, this is not going to be, I don't think, something where it's going to be clear cut who wins. I think it's going to be just as controversial as any other Chael Sonnen fight. To be honest with you.
I'm going to go with the bold statement of saying Silva wins by ear biting. There's going to be some dumb shit where there's going to be some controversial. I do agree with you. I'm going to make the bold prediction of saying that I think for some reason my gut instinct is that I think that Silva gets the win. I don't know why, but I just feel that Chael's been a little bit sloppy. And if you can get beaten by Tito Ortiz, who's really at the back end of his career, and it showed, if you can get beaten by a real out of shape kind of Tito, and Tito's one of my favorite fighters ever, and I'm just saying this to be honest, I think that there's a potential chance that we could see Wanderlei catch him in the first round. If it gets out of the first round, Chael's riding this out like a pony.
Now, here's the thing on that, real quick, because you talked about Son and Ortiz, right? When Sonnen went for he went for that guillotine that he couldn't keep. Didn't he jump on it like our first weekend white belt? Like, oh shit, guillotine! He jumped on it like that. That's kind of what it looked like to me. You know what I mean? And so that's why exactly. That's why I'm with you on this on Vanderlei winning this fight. I don't know how he's gonna do it, but Sonnen can't pull that kind of bullshit. I don't think with a guy whose specialty is pounding your face, and especially when he's on top of you.
All right, what do you think, Brad?
I'm gonna go Silva. I'm gonna go submission. I can see him catching him with a guillotine on the sloppy takedown. I think Sonnen has proved in his last few fights he doesn't like to take a punch anymore. I think if Silva can get in and dig in one, or maybe even get like a knee to the body, Sonnen's going to be shooting like crazy because he just don't want to take damage. And I can see Silva clinching up a guillotine on the way down.
Fuck that! That's a deep call. I'm not mad at that.
I reckon you might get a decent price on that as well.
I think you get ridiculous odds on that if I'm being truthful. I'm just going to try and pull that up here. Eddie, do you mind pulling up the Oklahoma card, and we'll smash out that Oklahoma card?
Sure thing. You know, the funny thing about Sonnen though is actually, this is a question I had. You guys think this is it for Sonnen? Win or lose, he retires?
No. There's too much more money to be made. There's too much more money to be made. There's him versus Fedor still to happen.
Oh,
yeah, I think as long as there's money on the table, Chael Sonnen is going to be there, and I think that's exactly why he's not going to win this fight. You know, I think he's hit that stage now where he's just like, you know what, I'll turn up and be the bad guy for a payday, and someone's going to do it. And if they're going to carry on paying the money, it's exactly the same as Ken Shamrock. UFC 40 when he fought Ortiz, he knew he wasn't able to compete with Ortiz at that point, and he made a fight of it the first time around, much like Chael Sonnen did against Vanderlei Silva against Anderson Silva, the first time around. And then Ken managed to hang around. He got 2 more fights with Tito. He got a fight with Chemo. He got a fight with Rich Franklin. He was out of his depth in the vast majority of those fights, but he was able to keep himself relevant through his mouth and his previous accomplishments. And I think Sonnen will probably be able to do that for 1 or 2 more. Chael Sonnen versus Royce Gracie. I can see both.
Oh man, no.
I don't want to see it, but I can see both going on.
I agree. No, I agree with you, man. They made fucking Hoist against Ken Shamrock crying out loud. So they'll make that fight too.
And that's Gracie might actually be able to win.
Yeah, right.
Oh God, that makes me feel so fucking.
Horrible, isn't it?
You throw up in my mouth.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. So
I got the card up.
Oh, cool. Let's fucking smash this bitch out because I'm just thinking, Christ, I do not want to see Royce Gracie ever again in the fucking cage.
Yeah, dude, this card's got names all over the place. Clay Guida's in the FS2 prelims. Mind you, FS2, again, this is just for the American, the guys over here in the US. Nobody has FS2. Cut the shit. And where is it for you guys? Is it BT Sport 2?
Is this the normal prelims, isn't it? So this will be on BT and on Fight Pass for us.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. You guys look out with that shit. But anyway, Clay Guida's there.
It used to be you get the first 2 fights or so on Fight Pass, and then you had to go on BT Sport. But I think the past 4 or 5 events, maybe they've had them both on BT Sport. I can't say anything bad about BT Sport Fight Pass because obviously they pay my wages. So tune in this Sunday, 11 p.m.
I can say fuck not Fight Pass, I like Fight Pass. Fuck FS2. I can say that shit. All right, so you want to talk about every single fight, or just the main ones?
Just pull out the big names, the main fights on there. So
right. Well, let's start with BJ Penn facing the guy that got your boy a title shot, and Dennis Siver.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I will never drop that. That will never end, Ash. I will bring it up every single show.
You know what you're going to take into account with that fight, though, right? him winning that fight, I'm not saying is, groundbreaking or anything like that. You've got to take into account that he was, I believe, from that fight afterwards, he was 4th in the rankings. And obviously, Mendes just had his fight. And I can't remember who was 3rd at the time in the featherweight division at that time. So you're just talking, like, bear in mind, he'd beaten Chad Mendes twice. And then whoever was 3rd, I can't remember who was 3rd at the time. So it makes sense that the next person was to challenge him was the nearest guy who was on a run.
Yeah.
So if we're going to get mad at that, then would you be really mad if Frankie Edgar got a shot against fucking Max Holloway? No. Would you be mad if Swanson?
No. Time out. Nobody said I was mad. Nobody said I was mad. I'm literally just fucking with you on it because I know it bothers you.
It's because the thing is, though, right? It's this thing of that there's 1,000 things that everybody brings up about Conor, but you know what's the worst thing in the entire world, right? The worst thing about it in the entire world is if he wasn't as successful and he wasn't getting as much money, and I'm not going to rant about this because we end up doing a 45 minutes on Conor, right?
Okay.
So the main thing is that bugs me the most about it is the fact that if he wasn't as popular as he we wouldn't even care.
100%.
We wouldn't even care. If he was John Jones famous, we wouldn't care. If he was GSP famous, we wouldn't care.
Agreed.
The fact is just the only reason that it gets more hate and more thing is because I remember tweeting this out, and this got so much fucking heat for it. I tweeted out that Ronda Rousey is the Hoist Gracie of women's MMA. And I got so much shit for it. And the only reason that I said that was, it is. Because she did so much for that division. She did so much for the sport. And yet the only thing that people could give her grief about was the fact that she was pretty, or she'd like danced around a little bit and went to movie premieres and stuff like that. And it's like every one of those women in that entire division wanted to be her. And that's the only reason she got flack. And it's the same.
She beat a whole lot of shit to get where she was, just like Hoist Gracie.
Exactly. And she beat some bad motherfuckers. Like, everybody gives grief about Ronda Rousey, but she beat some bad motherfuckers.
Yeah, but she beat a whole lot of shit as well. She beat a fair few soccer moms. And, if you look at... I've actually started watching the UFCs from number 1 again. And, you look at some of the guys that Gracie fought in 1, 2, and 4.
100%.
He fought some dog shit guys. Really dog shit guys. Especially in the first 2.
But the sport was dog shit at the time, let's be fair, because it wasn't even a sport. It was literally a culmination of style versus style. So
you have to look at the guys they kept away from Gracie. They kept Pat Smith away from him in UFC 2. They wouldn't let John McCarthy compete in UFC 2. Big John McCarthy wanted to compete in UFC 1 and 2.
I didn't know he wanted to compete.
He was a Gracie student, and they wouldn't let him compete because he was like 100 pounds heavier than Hoist, and they thought, well, fuck, if he's like a Gracie, I think he was a purple belt at the time. So they thought, well, fuck, this guy will probably shank Royce as well. They kept a lot of guys away from Hoist Gracie in those early tournaments.
Oh, I don't dispute it. Like I say, I just mean in the context of what they did for the sport, especially, and the dominant.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
I got so much heat for that. And like I say, it's just a case of, for me, it always amuses me that, like, if I put it this way, if Cowboy ended up being the biggest star in the UFC in the next year, just to throw a name out, I bet you £1,000 every last person who's a Cowboy fan, 90% of them will turn and no longer be Cowboy fans.
I think when you're building a star and you talk about someone who's going to have an impact on the sport, you kind of have to build the myth around them. Like, when the UFC was originally envisaged, it was an infomercial for Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. But what it did was kind of dispel the myth of traditional martial arts, because a lot of people thought martial arts and they thought, Jackie Chan movie, Bruce Lee movie, jumping kicks, flying kicks. They thought that was what it was. And then the first couple of UFCs, Gracie completely dispelled that myth. And he kind of taught the lesson was that, if you get into a real fight, you're going to get taken down, you're going to get strangled, you're going to get your limbs bent off. That's what a real fight looks like. But because he fought a lot of shit in those first 2 tournaments, he then created his own myth. And that myth was that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu was the best star in the world, and that anyone who went to the ground with them would be fucked. And then all of a sudden you've got the shoot fighters, the wrestlers, and the kickboxers dispelled that myth. And they all dispelled each other's myths as well. And then mixed martial arts came in, and guys like Frank Shamrock trained in everything and was an elite level athlete. and that kind of destroyed all of us. But you had that kind of different myth creating, and you get that with a lot of the top guys. Tito Ortiz had that myth that nobody could beat him because he was the strongest guy, he had the best cardio and the best ground and pound, until Chuck beat him. And that pattern's kind of gone on through mixed martial arts history, and it'll probably still go on through MMA history.
100%. Now, apart from having the best spinning back kick in the history of any martial arts, how do you see this playing out for Silva? Sylvia, I can't even say his name.
Who?
For Dennis.
Receiver.
Yeah.
Talking with me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
You do is like,
Go ahead, Brad. Take it.
Dude.
I don't know. I mean, Seaver's not fought for nearly 2 years now.
Yes. I think this is the second year anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I've struggled to back anyone who's had that amount of time out. Penn's one of the greatest of all time, but he's been on a huge downward spiral. And people always talk about the mental side of things with Penn. Is he motivated? Why does he keep coming back? I mean, we've seen him against Rodriguez last time out, and that should have never happened. Does he want to go out on a more positive note? And is he going to be able to get motivated to those same levels that saw him beat the Sean Shirks and the Matt Hugheses of the industry back in the day? Is the desire to go out on that kind of positive note going to take him back up there? Or is he going to be another guy that goes out in the Shield? I'm honestly not sure. I don't know that Seaver's got the tools to really damage him or put him away, but at the same time, it's so tough to back BJ Penn these days. He's taken so much damage and just hasn't looked like the BJ that was a world killer. So I don't know. I can see Seaver chipping away at him for a 3-round decision.
Ooh. I was gonna go with a second round. I was gonna go with a second round sub for BJ because I think that he can grind him out and he'll have, in a sense, the better cardio.
BJ Penn by submission, first round. I don't give a fuck. Look, I'm hoping for a bloodbath, and I want to. Yeah, but I want to see BJ Penn fucking licking his gloves and shit, but it's not gonna happen. Let's be honest.
Imagine if this is the fight of the night.
Exactly. All right, so here's that fight. The fight after them is Tim Means is against Alex Garcia. If you guys want to talk about that, Tim Means is a bad motherfucker. I'll say that much. But
I'm gonna go with Tim Means just because I think he's so durable and I think that he grinds out the 3 rounds and gets the decision.
Yeah, I'd go with Tim Means as well. He's a lengthy guy. He's great in the clinch, good elbows, good knees. I think he can make this a really dirty, nasty fight and just beat his way to a victory.
There you go. All right. The next fight up, we got I'm gonna butcher his name, but I'll say Joaquin Christensen against Dominic Reyes. I don't know anything about this Reyes cat. Other than his nickname's Devastator.
Needs to be unlocked apparently on fucking UFC Fight Passes rankings because he doesn't have a picture. So.
Oh, he's Noob Saibot from fucking Mortal Kombat.
6-0 though.
Huh?
He's 6-0 though.
Okay, I mean, Aaron Pico's undefeated too.
Yeah, but he hasn't fought at all either.
CM Punk was undefeated before he got his ass whooped too. I don't know what tell me.
Yeah, but I'm saying like he's 6-0. I'm just saying that he's had some fights and he's done well enough to get in the UFC. Is all I'm saying.
Look, all I know from his record, he's got hands. So that's what it seems like. He PKOs motherfuckers, right?
Listen, I beat a few bums up about 10 years ago. It does not mean anything.
I'm saying I've won plenty of bar fights in my day. All right, plenty. I'm undefeated in bar fights. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm never going out drinking with you two guys because it's just going to end up scrappy.
Yeah, whatever. All right,
shit.
I don't know
what's funny is
I don't
knowledge. I don't know about you guys, but when I was getting into bar fights, I hadn't trained much at all. Now that I train, it's like I could do it, but I'd be bored shitless, man. You know what? Just go back to your table. It wouldn't be fun. Like I legit do that now when I go out. I'm like, I don't even want to fight you. It wouldn't be fun. I'd rather go to the to my jiu-jitsu academy and fight someone there that knows what the fuck they're doing. But yeah.
In my 30s, I've been buying expensive clothes, so I don't want to mess my shit up now.
No, I agree. Yeah, don't do that shit. Anyway, but I mean, I'm thinking Christian's gonna take it just based off of experience, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm not going to make it
on this one. You know, 19 pro fights versus 6. I mean, as good as this Reyes kid is, I'll be honest, I've only seen his last fight, which was impressive. But, you know, you look at the records of the guys he's not fought great guys. So I'm going to go with experience in this one.
You know what? I'm going to fuck you guys, and I'm going to go fucking Reyes with the fucking killer knockout, because I'm just going to go with the boy, seeing as he's undefeated, and just hope he puts on a fucking show.
The smartest guy in the room when he wins. Yeah, I played this prospect years ago.
No, you know what's the worst thing, though, when you get these guys who, like, in fairness, like you know, you might catch somebody's highlights when you watch like a European scene, or like you know, like a Mexican scene, or these smaller promotions, and you see one guy and you remember that name because it's a weird name, and then they're coming around like years later, and you're like, I remember that guy. I remember when he was like down there, and it's like, you didn't remember that guy at all. Like, get the fuck out of here.
My fucking claim to fame is that like 2010 or maybe no, 2011, 2012. I saw Roger's first couple of amateur fights, and I did an article for some magazine where they asked me to pick some dude who was going to make it. I picked Saul Rogers when he was 3-0 as an amateur. Oh, fucking hell.
I think the weirdest one of like me remembering the guy before I actually saw him in the UFC and big time and stuff like that is I remember seeing a video clip of Anderson Silva versus Carlos Newton. In Japan, and like I only knew Carlos Newton. That was I didn't know who Silva was or anything like that. And then when I saw him obviously come to the UFC years later, it was like a completely different guy in a sense, and it was just one of those weird things that I always remember, because I always remember being a fan of Carlos Newton because his style was Dragon Ball Jiu-Jitsu, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. He used to be the Kamehameha after all his wins, isn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Jesus Christ. People, this is those weird as a fucking, you ever seen those like YouTube videos or Vines or whatever, or those kids that think they're Saiyans and they sit there like screaming. There was one black kid, and like I think he was in New York. And he's sitting there screaming his ass off, and I think his dad comes behind him and smacks the shit out of him. That's the best fucking video ever. He's like, and I was like, you see the door behind him open, and boom! Shit was like, yes! Someone shut that kid up.
I think the funniest video I've ever seen that was similar to that, there was a girl twerking in a video, and her dad came in and started fucking ragdolling her when she was like twerking in front of a webcam, and her dad just rang, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that shit. All right, next fight up. Any Felice Herrig fans here? Because we got Felice Herrig against Justine Kish. Another 6-0.
Posted a video, and she had the booty out. She had the booty out straight up. She posted the video of her like I think she was like trying to check her weight, and like the guy whoever's holding the camera is like, I do not give a fuck about your weight. I am exposing your butt virally. And the worst thing was it was Jake Shields' account that posted that.
Oh Jesus! Jake Shields will post anything.
Felice Herring's day once. She came over to the UK to promote. Do you remember that video game, Supremacy MMA?
Yeah.
When that came out, so they've done a deal with UCMMA in London to promote that on one of their cards. And Felice Herring and the other girl who was in the game turned up at the press conference, and they were like, "Oh, we're the first women to ever be in an MMA game." And I was like, "Oh, well, Erica Montoya was in the UFC Sudden Impact a few years ago." And it went down like a fucking lead balloon, I'll be honest. I did still get a hug off Felice Herring, so I was young and horny at the time. It worked for me.
I'm telling you, that video of Herring's booty, like with thumbs up, and then it got to her face. It's like, no, thumbs down. That's the hard look, man. And I've said it a million times. And I get shit for it constantly. They're like, oh, I can't believe you're being sexist. And I'm like, I can be whatever the fuck I want. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay, but I'm not even being sexist. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
it's not a face I want to see in the morning. With makeup, it's like, ooh. Without makeup, it's like, oh.
In England, we call that a bob fuck, which is a body of face of crime watch.
Oh, fucking Jesus Christ!
Butterface. It's a butterface. Everything but her face is nice.
I thought the expression was a 10-2. Personally, the only way you're gonna.
Oh dear.
But the point is, I would just like to make is just when we're going back the women thing and everything like that. It is kind of funny though, because you look at certain fighters and like you've got a friend Eddie who's got an obsession with Beth Goyer, and I know a few people that
I definitely would.
I wouldn't ever. No, never, ever. That'd have to be a 10-4.
Mate, as I say, I grew up in Holland, so there's pretty much nothing I won't do.
I'm trying to think of like a hot girl.
You know what's funny though? As long as you don't have to,
Terrible things. I've done some terrible things.
As long as I don't have to see Betchko hit his face, I would at least think about it. But it would still bother me that I know what she looks like.
What's the fucking hell? A boy who likes what's her name? The chick who got slapped by Cyborg.
Angela Magana.
Yeah, I know certain people that we know that would, and I wouldn't.
Hey, she got a booty too.
100%.
Bruh, come on.
Hey, I'm with you on that one, dude.
Low standards.
Bro.
Hey, I'm with you on that one, okay? It would only take a couple beers to get me ready for Angela Magana. Be fucking down.
Christ, you guys are going to turn around and say, like, did you see those pictures of Cyborg recently where she had, like, all the makeup on and she got dressed up pretty and stuff? You guys are going to be the same guys like, well, after a few beers, well, why not?
No, because she still looks like Vandalay in a dress.
I'd fuck Vandalay in a dress. How many people can say they've done that?
So I'm going to go with
Felice. Good point.
I'm going to go with Felice. Oh, my God. I'm just going to go with Felice to win by decision just so that we don't have to talk about it.
I'm with that. I'm with that one. Felice by decision. All right.
Shit.
Anyway, all right, let's talk about the co-main event, man. Tim Bosch against Johnny Hendricks, two guys that are big 185ers, man.
Oh, God. I'll let you go first with that one, Brad.
Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
I'm a big Johnny Hendricks fan, as it happens. I think he won that fight against GSP. I don't know I said I don't know what the fuck happened to him after that, but obviously you saw that happened to him after that. But I think he's found his niche. Tim Bosch, he's a real just above average fighter for me, and I think Johnny Hendricks is just a little bit better. He's not got the big weight cut to deal with. I can't imagine it being a spectacular knockout or anything, so I don't think Hendricks has got that in him anymore, but I think he's got enough in him to grind one out.
Well,
anybody else think that Johnny Hendricks misses weight? Because I do.
Get out of here.
Watch him miss weight.
Miss 185?
Watch him. Dude, it's Johnny fucking Hendricks, okay? I don't put anything past that dude.
Bro, get the fuck out of here. All I'm going to say is this. When it comes to this fight, the things that I think are most important for me is for Boach, I think that... How can I put this? I think that he's going to have the strength and the power advantage. He's not going to have the speed. But the thing is, for me, is Hendricks going to be able to take him down? And if not, is he going to be able to get in close enough to strike with the reach that Tim's going to have on him? That's the key thing for me, because Tim hits hard. We know that Hendricks can hit hard, but the only problem is for me, if Hendricks puts back on weight once after he weighs in, is it going to be anywhere near what Tim is, and will he be able to take him down at will?
Man, I'll tell you what. Johnny Hendricks getting knocked the fuck out.
Hendricks getting knocked out?
Hendricks is going to get knocked out.
I'm not mad at the call. I was leaning towards Johnny grinding out a decision, but there's just something that says to me that Tim's going to end up getting the W by knockout. I'm a big Hendricks fan. Like, shout out to that guy, follows me on Twitter and everything. Like, he's a cool dude. I've spoken to him a few times and stuff. When times were hard, I had a brief conversation with him. I think he's a fucking cool dude, man. He's a stand-up guy. But for me, the only worry that I have is the size of Tim when he actually comes and steps into the cage.
Yep. I'll tell you what. Wait, Brad, you there?
I think Brad's got the lag, so I think that he's catching up.
Okay. All right. Well, hey. The thing about it, look, Hendricks is not grinding anything out but a rack of ribs. Okay, he ain't even grinding shit. Tim Bosch is gonna knock him out, huh?
You can't even do that. His ribs are shit, apparently. That's what I've heard.
So, hey, look, they had to close down the restaurant. Who knows? But Tim Boach is gonna knock him the fuck out. That's all I'm saying.
What are you saying, Brad, when it comes to this? How you see this playing out?
We lost him for a second. He might be doing something. Anyway. Oh, he's coming back.
I think he's coming back. Yeah, well, we'll move on to the main event anyway, because it is what it is. Yeah, bro. So, what are you saying for the main event?
Main event, of course. Oh yeah, main event. Michael Chiesa taking on Kevin Lee. They don't like each other. That with the whole talking about Chiesa's mom and shit. It's dude, Chiesa's got the ground game. Kevin Lee's a crazy striker. It's a weird fight, but I'd like to say Kevin Lee's gonna knock him out.
Oh, I'm hoping that Michael can pull out.
I know. I'm rooting Chiesa, mind you. I'm rooting for Mike Chiesa, but I think Kevin Lee's gonna take him.
Oh Christ! I think it's like you say, it's the power puncher versus the more like technical grappler, and well, I'll say this though. This is one interesting thing though. Like, let's bear in mind when Lee copped him at the press conference and he hit him with that hand, and he did hit him, he did catch him. He didn't seem to rock him. I'm not saying that like he caught him flush or anything like that. I'm just saying he was able to take that shot. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, yeah, but I don't know. It's a cheap shot. I mean, the people were in the way. He didn't like actually land that hard. I don't think.
No, I'm not saying that he landed flush, because obviously if you land somebody flush, they go down regardless.
Oh, right.
I'm saying that he copped him, and that'll be a mark in Michael's mind where he'll go, he hit me, I didn't even feel it.
That'd be a mistake then, because if he gets in there thinking that Kevin Lee can't knock him out, he's gonna get knocked out.
I don't know. I just think it's a confidence booster. If you think that you took a shot from somebody and it didn't hurt, it gives you a confidence. Maybe it does like flip on him, and maybe he does think that he's got a stronger chin than he has fists, but it also adds the confidence not to be scared as well, to go forward and work for takedowns and for the finish.
I think this is a 5-round fight, yeah?
Yeah, I believe so. It should be, yeah, with it being the main event.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you want to talk about the confidence that might have given Lee to swing, you got to bear in mind that, like, Lee swings big, wide hooks. Every time he does that, that gives, say, the chance to take him down. And, when we're playing that points game over 5 rounds, 2 takedowns in a round, you're going to win the round. And especially with the new scoring criteria where you can get a 10-8 a lot easier for just having ground control for 3.5, 4 minutes, that could really tip the points in favor of Chisea. I can see Chisea taking this one on the scorecards quite decisively. I think it's going to be one of those fights where Lee, for the first couple of rounds, gets his shots off on the feet, makes that mistake, gets taken down, gets held down, and then the last couple of rounds are going to be really sloppy takedowns and lay and pray.
I'm not mad at that. I'm hoping, me personally, I'm going to go with Chelsea for I'm going to go with the sub, and I'm going to go for that in the 4th round when I think Kevin Lee's out of gas. That's how I'm seeing this go out, because it's all good and well throwing them power shots, but after a while, when you've thrown everything into them, I just hope that if Lee's going to win, he needs to be patient and he needs to pick the shots. Michael needs to keep himself calm and focused and make sure that he takes his opportunities to take down Kevin Lee and not be overridden by any emotions, by Kevin saying something about his mum when he's in the cage. Because if Kevin turns around and says, your mum's a bitch, and he turns around and sees red. No, but you know what I'm saying? If I'm Kevin Lee, that's the first thing to do. That's the first
he's going to do it.
When you're there and they say the rest says touch gloves, blah, 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 go back to your corners, I turn around and say, I fuck your mum. That's the first thing I say. That's the first thing I'm going to say to you, because I know that you're going to come around.
Fuck his mum before the fight, and then you've got the authenticity there as well.
Yeah, he could actually do it. Imagine if he actually does it. Fucks his mom before the fight.
Oh, bro, like, y'all nasty. Fucking nasty. Right, so predictions, Brad. What are you going with for the main event?
I'm gonna go decision. I'm gonna go just say a decision, 5 rounds.
What are you saying, Eddie?
Kevin Lee by knockout.
Fuck. I'm gonna go with Michael, and I'm gonna go with the 4th round sub. That's what I'm rolling with. Right, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Eddie's gonna go and rehab his back because he pulled his vagina, so he needs. hater. I know how bad it is in fairness, because when I pulled my back when my dog got attacked and I had to fight off a staffy, my back and shoulder were torn up. So that was fun. Yeah, I know, right? Always a fun time. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Brad for coming through and smashing that out. Where can they find you on social media, dudes? And where can they watch you and whatnot?
Yeah, I'm on at MMA Brad 48 on Twitter. Don't try to add me on Facebook because I've had enough of that shit. Check out Cage Warriors this Saturday night, 9 o'clock UK time, BT Sport, UFC Fight Pass. I've got a fantastic card, middleweight title on the line. Jason Radcliffe versus Oscar Pichota, who's an up-and-coming Polish prospect, 8-0-1. Also got Martin Stapleton, former BAMMA champion, versus Donovan Besame. Lee Chadwick with Sandra Manzola. Really, really fun card from Bournemouth. So check that out if you can. And yeah, I'm at MMA Brad 48 on Twitter. I generally tweet stuff about fights and my terrible DJing skills and bad jokes. So if you're into that, fill your boots, boys and girls. Fill your boots.
What we're going to say as well is shout out to our sponsors as well. Make sure you check out Receptra. That's RECEPTRA. That's Receptra Naturals if you're in the States.com. And if you are in the UK, it's ReceptraGlobals.com. Either way, hemp products, extracts, CBD oils, tropicas, all those good things that can help you heal your body, give you a good soul, and it helps you with your recovery, whether it be inflammation, whether it be arthritis. It can help with epilepsy. It can it's been known to help with certain kind of cancer-esque illnesses. So, you know, I couldn't recommend it higher enough, but make sure you check them out. Receptra Naturals if you're in the States, and if you are in the UK or Europe, it's ReceptraGlobal.com, and use the code word HeelHook for 10% off. Bane Store. Bane are in jiu-jitsu and athletic apparel. They do rash guards, spats, mugs, artwork. They dropped the new Midnight range, which is beautiful, where they do cool artwork that reflects the history of jiu-jitsu in a cool and kind of historical kind of manner. But make sure you check out banestore.com. That's BAIN store.com. Use the code word the heel hook for 10% off. Last but not least, Huel. Huel is a neutral complete brand that does shakes and bars. They also do cool shakers as well. I can't recommend them enough. If you ever get sick and tired of pieces of your pre-workout, post-workout, or any kind of shake that you use, and you get sick of those bits of powder that doesn't shake properly, I couldn't recommend the Huel shake better. It's got a grid system that prevents all the bits and pieces getting into your mouth and all that nastiness. So make sure that you check out Huel.com. You can find myself, Ashley Lamprey, at Twitter. That's ASHLEY LAMPREY. I always find it really weird saying my name out loud and spelling it, especially because I never have to spell my name. But make sure you check me out on Twitter. The Heel Hook Show also on Twitter, and on Instagram we are The Heel Hook, SoundCloud The Heel Hook, and iTunes also The Heel Hook. And check us out on twitch.tv/The Heel Hook. I will be twitching some NBA 2K17 tomorrow. I've just made a new point guard, if that's your kind of thing. I'll be kind of playing around with my new My Career guy. So that's me. Eddie, where can they find you at?
Follow me on Twitter at Elaw31. Of course, crossroadsmma.com. We just had a show last night, so make sure you check that out. My boys, myself, Dave Rodriguez, Jesse Rubacava, and Fred Kirby. And also big shout out to my teammates, CTA, the Coyote team, J. Pages Jiu-Jitsu, competing tomorrow or Saturday at the Arizona State Championships in I think it's the middle of Phoenix. I think it's at Phoenix College. So if you're in Arizona, you want to watch some like good jiu-jitsu, my team is gonna go out there and whoop that ass, to bring that trophy home. I was supposed to compete, injured my back, had to withdraw unfortunately, but my teammates are gonna go whoop that ass. So shout out to them. Good luck. And yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you again, Brad, for coming through and giving your expertise and your thoughts on fucking Wanderlei in a dress. Additional to that, guys, thank you so much for everybody who's tuned in today. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. From me, Brad, and Eddie, this has been the Heel Hook Show. Peace up, A-Town down. We're out of here, guys.